Australia has and always will belong to the indigenous people of the land, which was colonised by European and Asian settlers from 1788 to 1901 after Federation. I'd like to start this presentation by acknowledging the land I am presenting from today, Penania, as the lands of the Dharawal people, the traditional custodians of the land, and I pay my respects to them and their elders past, present, and emerging. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today, and to the traditional owners of the land you are on. Penania is an Aboriginal word that means the sun rising in the east and shining on the hills. It used to be named East Hills until the arrival of the train station, and used to mainly consist of farmland belonging to middle-class families. I've lived in Penania for a few years now, and my family chose to live here because of its proximity to my last house, not the one in England, train stations, and places like doctors and shops. Despite not having lived here all my life, I've developed quite a relationship with this place, frequenting some of the places with the most intercultural activity. Penania is located in Canterbury, Bankstown, southwest of Sydney Central by 22.55 kilometres. According to an ABS 2021 survey, 1.4% of people are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders and 95% are neither. In the whole of Australia, 33.2% are Indigenous and Torres Strait Islanders and 91.9% are non-Indigenous. Only 25% of people's ancestry is from Australia, the other places being China, England, Lebanon, and Ireland, with people coming from China, Vietnam, Lebanon, England, and India. This compares to Australia as a whole, 29.9% of people's ancestry being from Australia, and 66.9% of people being born there. As you can see, Penania's statistics mirror that of Australia's. Some places where intercultural communication occurs can be seen between these cultures and places such as Penania Library, Tower Street Public School, Penania Train Station, Georges River, and Penania Diggers. The Penania Library and Knowledge Centre is a place where different cultures interact, holding events such as Ukrainian art painting and biscuit decorating, and giving away native plants to encourage people to get involved and grow them at home to promote native wildlife and the Aboriginal culture. These cultural activities were new to me but openly accepted and enjoyed, noticing people from other cultures getting involved too. It is a gateway to less anxiety and uncertainty for new people, being able to have small experiences with their own and different cultures. It is an open, friendly, and inclusive public space promoting curiosity. People mostly keep to themselves unless there are events like the aforementioned ones or the reading events, where people sit down together and talk about what everyone came to do: read. The library provides books on the local area and Indigenous history, a place free from native exclusion where historically the colonised lands were owned exclusively by white Australians. Its history, compared to other nearby suburbs like Revesby, is a lot more prevalent and impactful, actually having a known history behind things such as the name. It is more multicultural now than as previously mentioned, showing multiculturalism instead of liberal multiculturalism. Tower Street Public School was formerly 10 acres of Cummings Family Market Garden, having natural watercourse and plain uneven ground. After the land became a school, it took until the 1960s when Penania's population increased dramatically, for 18,000 square feet of kikuyu sods planted and for them to drain the land. I have been to Tower Street Public School as a visitor attending their market day, where foods from different cultures and Western music and activities that are callbacks to its history of being a farm, pony rides and petting zoos were taking place. It wasn't new to me, but it showed me a quaint little school open to new things. Its billboard reads, "Small school, big opportunities," and as like any other school, taught Aboriginal studies and is going one step further to teach Aboriginal languages. The school is as intercultural as it gets, teaching other religions, cultures, and Indigenous history. This means all students and staff are linked with knowledge they share and have similar curiosities. Being taught in such a way avoids things like bracketing, provides intercultural learning, and interacting with other students from different backgrounds can also reduce transition shock. Despite all that is being done now, Panania's indigenous history has almost been erased, only being seen briefly in Panania Station and a lot through Georges River. Panania Station is the whole reason Panania is named Panania. As previously mentioned, it keeps some of its indigenous heritage in reference to the name and the painting, which can be found on the wall outside of the station. People generally evade each other and mind their own business, but the actual station acts as a gateway to other regions and allows foreigners access to Panania. The train station itself and most of Panania's history is post-colonial, meaning there is no knowledge of natives before that, making the train station appear a lot more like liberal multiculturalism. Georges River. Aboriginal people used to cut down nearby trees for canoes and other utensils, and there have been middens found of oysters, small fish, birds, and mammals local to the river. George Bass and Matthew Flinders sailed down it in October 1797 and named it after the king of the time, King George III. People nowadays will still sail down it and use it as a spot for fishing. I have been down to the riverside with my family. Not many people being down there making it quite an isolated experience, yet making it one that feels as though you could get closer to the land and some sense of indigenous people and the way they used to live. However, because the name is an indigenous one and instead of British one, it says that post-colonial ways still operate through society and could even be considered as native exclusion. The place itself is one with friendly interactions, mostly in the Western tradition. Established in 1952, Panania Diggers holds itself as a reminder of what was lost in World War II and acts as a private social place for people to mingle in a bar gym setting as it is an RSL. It is a friendly, easily accessible place with little hostility despite the bar gym setting. There is an underlying tension, though, due to it being a sports club. My encounters with people have been rather evasive, as there are people in the club that make it hard to socialize with people you don't know. However, many people find common ground of loving sport, thus acting as a contact zone for different cultures. It is post-colonization, which chose, due to its heavy European influence, to be a soccer club with a bar. The indigenous history isn't shown due to its post-colonial nature and how it already dedicates itself to being a war memorial. In conclusion, I have learned about how close and frequent intercultural actions are and how they are really prevalent in my neighborhood. I understand how colonialism has shaped indigenous lives and the effects of post-colonialism on migrants, people being more open to them, especially due to the large amount and variation of migrants over the colonization period. I understand how many people in my suburb are just like me, somebody who has migrated from a different country and all the ways to get some more accustomed to it.